Yeah, I kind of have a feeling Queen's Court is going to have a conversation on communications here.
Yeah, hello. Netflix is in there. You know how long it's been since I've been
Oh, it's been a while. It's been a while since anybody's been
miss,
asking for
I miss
comms.
my Netflix. So let's talk about communications.
Okay.
So obviously, part of our daily routine is obviously to go through the different indexes. And of course, we have a very, huge deep dive on the sector analysis on Mondays when you're here. And one of the, areas that's really gotten beaten down has been communications, right? But like the markets, it's lagging, but it's found a double bottom over there at 63, right? And you can all visually see that. And then, over the last week or so, it started to regain those moving averages. We got the 9 back, we got the 20, and then yesterday, and then today, we opened up above the
That
50.
50. That 50 is important.
That looks enticing. That looks beautiful. That's got me going, ooh, okay. Now I'm starting to even look and, like I talked about Roblox, I'm looking in the different spaces. I'm looking at your Verizons, I'm looking at your Netflixes, your Facebooks, and I'm wondering, is it time? Is it
Jinx,
time?
by the way.
Am I a little ahead of the game, or is it time to start throwing some of
I
these puppies in a watch list and start looking at them? See if I want to
build
go date with
comms
them.
is building an argument. Comms is building an argument here. So let's look at that argument as told over time. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So give me 1 second. Let me get FinViz. All right, here we go. All right. So let's look at that. Let's look at that story of communications over the last 6 months. Okay. 6 months ago, or over the last 6 months, comms is down about 9%. It's the worst sector. And it's not close, by the way. It's the worst sector. Cyclical is the second worst. It's down half that, right? Mm. It's not even a debate. Comms has been the worst sector over the last 6 months. And just to remind everybody, it was me and Frank's pick for best sector of 2022. We're most likely, come on, help us out here, guys. Help us out. We finished up 22% last year. We can do it again. We're just gonna have to be a little bit more robust this time to get that Volcker for me and Frankie. But comms has a chance here to grab some fires. So let's look at it. Down 9% over the last 6 months. Over the last 3 months, though, improving condition a little bit. Down close about the same, about 9%. But as you can see, tech's may be performing a little bit worse than over the last 3 months. Over the last 1 month, you see comms up here.
Horse race almost, right?
Right, it is. We're rounding the corner. We're rounding the corner here. Communications, in the last month up 3%. And think about from a thematic perspective in the marketplace. The last 6 months, comms garbage. The last 3 months, comms is garbage. Last month, comms is only slightly worse than garbage. And I mean that in comparison to the rest of the sectors. I mean, utilities up 7%, basic materials up 6%, real estate up 6% in the last month. Here's comms only up about 3.75%. And so an improving condition over the last week, though, comms jumps up to the fourth, fifth best sector in the market in the last week. And 1 day relative performance, comms near the top there. So obviously you're seeing a story in price performance that is an improving condition. Technically here, you also see an improving condition. We've had these choppy sessions where we did punch up in comms over the last 6 months. This was the one that really had an opportunity, this little kind of this downward pressure that started in during I know it was a world ago, but you guys remember Omicron? That started kind of right there, right? Or excuse me, I lied. That was Delta. This is Omicron. See, it's confusing. It does get a little confusing. So anyways, it had those opportunities, but look at the 50, look at the 50, look at the 50, look at the 50, look at that punch up. Boom, 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 boom. 50, gross, back down. And so now we're seeing this slow, methodical grind where it now punches up against a 50 after a double, triple, arguable a triple, but I would call it a double bottom here. Breaks back above that 50-day moving average, reclaims that $70. And if you guys will remember, there's about a month ago where I called this my bear pick of the week, and I said it was a great hedge against the volatility in the marketplace. Well, you're now reclaiming that very same level here. The very level why I thought it was such a good short is now such a, maybe not the polar opposite of such a good short, because you have a different pattern going into it. But again, I do think it's an important situation for comps to break back up above 70, for it to break back up a bit against the 50-day moving average. And when you're looking at communications from an individual stock perspective, let me kind of bring the sector over here now. When you're looking at it comps from an individual stock perspective, Google's all well on its path to recover well before this conversation, and it was obviously leading the entire sector. Facebook just kind of being carried here, And so what I'm looking at here is, okay, so comms is starting to turn around. Are the stocks starting to turn around, and which one should we really kind of be looking at? Facebook's just Facebook. That's all I'm going to say on that. Disney's got an increase in support, kissing up against moving average. Keep an eye on that double bottom at 130. Comcast has a very constructive reversal that it's working out with the double bottom around 45. Verizon, garbage. Like literally low base against an entire market that's improving. Verizon low base. No, thank you. No. Netflix, I think Netflix got to be looked at here. Choppy reversal, head and shoulders reversal in the short term, but it's got one of those conditions where that old resistance at 400, it's reclaiming that moving average there. So keep an eye on Netflix. AT&T looks like a nothing burger. T-Mobile about 130, maybe. A little bit of a descending triangle wedge on Charter Communication. Activision obviously got bought out. It's off the board. EA's fighting a V-shaped recovery here. Twitter looks very compelling here. Double bottom, triple bottom, quadruple bottom, reversal analysis, increase in support, and then reclaiming that $40, which was the old pivot point. That looks interesting. Match with the V-shaped recovery looks interesting. And so you go through the watch list. OMC looks really interesting off a choppy, volatile head and shoulders. Right shoulder, king's bed, breakout type pattern. Dish looks compelling in reversal analysis. And so, when you're looking at some of this here, you saw the improving condition on performance against sector as told over time. The technical condition is changing. And, I remember I wasn't in the scatter report meeting last week, but I was a couple weeks ago. And I'll tell you exactly what I said a week and a half ago in that scouting report meeting, because me and Frank were there and we were kind of debating things. And, me and Frank have a very similar technical read on most things. And both of us like, comms is garbage. It's garbage. It's garbage everywhere. It's garbage bull. It's garbage bear. It's garbage everywhere. You can't find any edge one way or the other. That's not necessarily the case any longer. You're starting to see some compelling evidence that in the volatility of Facebook's earnings reports and Netflix earnings report from last quarter seems to be subsiding. Both of them are punching up, but the one I'd keep an eye on if you're looking at one of those big dogs out of comms is definitely Netflix against 400 more than chasing whatever Facebook's doing. But I do think now you're seeing improving condition here, Emily. And, I think comms definitely has a chance, and there's a lot of compelling reversals here in communications. Roblox not listed here, obviously it's not in the actual S&P, but that's compelling as well. So yeah, I think it is still lagging the market, and the rankings at tackle trading also reflect that lagging the market. The S&P at 40 versus, and by the way, the S&P would be at 35 based on the price action we've seen this week. But communications at negative 45, an improving condition over the last few weeks for us. We were at negative 30. We've been inching that up to negative 45. So obviously an improving condition, but I think at this point, it's a matter of updating those watch lists in communications and get ready to fire when you see the trigger.